that's a good thing. And one of the other things, and it's noted in the report, and as a business person, if I was an independent owner and running that pool, and the additional rental income for securing a fixed place for the season, I don't think that's what the community is about. So I didn't factor that in, even though it generated, I think, $14,000 or $15,000. Now we may look at that to do it on a daily rental, where somebody can come in and enjoy those cabanas, but not monopolize it and take it for an entire season.
Are there other, membership and operating cost questions? So, just membership and operating costs? Well, okay, there's a bunch of other questions, so let's keep to the thing. If it's membership and operating costs, sir?
Yeah. So the non-member price is the same as it was before?
Operating costs, go ahead.
If I heard you correctly, you said that if your membership was lower than what you have projected, that the rental that you were getting would cover the, if there's a deficit, we're going to take the hit? Is that?
No, I think our assumptions well protect the operation, where we could certainly cut a lot of the other operating costs that coincide with volume. So less members, less hours of man hours to work in the snack bar or lifeguarding. If worst case scenario, and the pool, we 3-4 years from now, we look to not operate it during the summer or any other season following, the rental income will cover the taxes and the maintenance.
There's a lot of questions here that we've got grouped. And John, stay up here because these are really all related. Mm-hmm. How many LMCC members are also members of the pool?
And I believe it was based on.
Are there membership limits for LMCC members or / non-members?
Limits meaning a cap. If we find the cap, that's a great problem to have. But the outdoor area could handle plenty of people. There's no occupancy limit on the outdoor property.
Whoa. If the parking has been reduced because of him moving the parking by the pool, is Byram going to restrict the total number of members that can be in the pool because there's not enough parking to cover as many members as you would like to have there?
Okay. But who is moving the parking lots? We have, I guess it was the old hard tennis courts. And then there's a supplemental lot.
Yeah, but I can't. When they subdivided the property, I can't imagine that Byram didn't put a restriction on it. If they had the right to sell those two properties and separate them from the operating of the pool, and they only had the parking where the hard tennis courts are, Byram, I would be amazed if that resolution by the Byram Township Board didn't put a restriction on the total amount of membership that could be there based on the parking capacity that would be remaining.
And has that been looked into?
Did you ask Byram that question?
We sat with Byram, and I think I'll ask Sabina to join me for the technical. But my understanding is, if those two waterfront lots, if we were to pursue, or when they were looking to pursue residential building, an important component was, what are you need to accommodate that parking, that supplemental lot, not the tennis lot. And
so when the last plan was presented to Byram for their approval, they did have a traffic study that was associated with the parking. And while they did have some projection in growth in that number of membership, The approval process did not stipulate that the pool operations would be limited or restricted to that membership number. So at this point in time, Byram does not have any kind of number restriction on membership that we are aware of that's tied to any kind of formal approval. So that's pretty much, if that answers your question.
Do you know what the capacity of the parking lot is, and if the other lots were not part of the operation, what's the true courts are, where the mechanic courts were?
Off the top of my head, I don't have that number, but I do have the number in absolutely. Not a problem.
If I can ask, those two lots, are they buildable? Are they?
Okay, so that actually leads into quite a few of the comments that have been directed in my way. So I'd like to actually start with the zoning. And the question here is actually, since there are 4 parcels, if we do not buy them, okay, yes, that is true. There are 4 parcels that make dwellings be built upon them. Well, the thing is that it is classified as, or zoned, as single-family residential. If there is no pool and the facilities are completely removed from them, yes, they can be developed as single-family residential. And there is a subsequent thing on this about multifamily dwellings. Okay, so right now there is a multifamily dwelling located on one of them. It is grandfathered in. And that is tied to the use as a pool structure or pool facility. So if the pool facility goes away, everything on that property is actually null and void as far as what is allowed for multifamily use dwellings, the way it's been interpreted and written up on the approvals. The second one, okay, are the properties within the designated option? Yes, they are. Okay, that one. Okay, this is also having to do with the approval process, the preservation of the environment. There's a question as to whether or not it's already protected under Skylands. This property is actually under the Highlands, and it is within the protected restricted zone. That, or the most recent plan that had received approval, it was contingent upon getting Highlands approval, which they had gotten. The plan had subsequently changed. That approval has not been secured. So if in fact the plan that had been seen by Byram and approved was to go forward, they would still require to go to Highlands for the approval, and that very well at this point may go through, it may not go through. This is not a plan that Lake Mohawk Country Club can actually act upon without, again, also going to Highlands.
One more question regarding the question that I originally asked you.
Sure thing.
So, right now, those 2 lots.
They are not.
What about the Highlands you mentioned? Doesn't have to go through.
The Highlands, yes, because right now all 4 properties are tied together as the use as a pool facility. That is true, 100%.
So,
And that's what I was trying to get to, yeah. So the plan that had been presented to Byram 2 years ago is right now lapse in approval.
so it has to go back.
It has to go back for approval, yes.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that they're buildable at this point in time.
No, no.
Potentially not right now.
Okay, there is a question with regard to pressure testing. This has to do actually with the pool shell integrity as well as the plumbing associated with the pool structure. There was a pool inspection done as part of due diligence, and as well it was mentioned, and at that time it was discovered that there was no real need to do any kind of testing, as there was no evidence of any kind of significant water loss. It had been monitored at every single time that any of the inspections were conducted. We had also then requested the water billing associated with the property to determine exactly how much was actually being put into the pool on an annual basis. We then contacted the water department individually and asked them specifically for all of the water bills over the past couple of years. and found that there is no significant increase to the water outside of the expected annual filling in the springtime. And there's a question on individual membership dues. I would assume that that was something that we had covered with regard to the pool. Membership, is that the question?
Well, they don't know who passed.
Okay, so, yeah, that information is also in the binder, and if you wanted to come up afterwards, we can go through.
Membership?
Yeah,
Or an
okay, so
individual membership?
the individual membership would be $295, and a family membership to the pool would be $395. Septic system. Okay, the septic system was definitely something that was very much investigated during the inspection process, and the existing septic systems are functioning adequately and have been actually maintained regularly. The one that is going to be required for upgrade is associated with the pool kitchen, and yes, that has been addressed and incorporated into the capital reserve, as well as in that $150,000 that is for the first year. So that's pretty much it for my questions.
Okay, John, you have, one thing I noticed, the information is found in the, how many pages is that, John?
23.
23-page document that we worked hard on to summarize the due diligence, and there's some copies of it there. Does everybody know how to get that? It went out in an email, and it is on the website. Okay, so there's a lot of questions like how much is a membership, and those are in there. How much the due diligence cost? It's in there. You know, so we can answer those questions, but to do that, we're going to waste everybody's time that's done it. If you don't know those answers, that's fine, but you can find them, or you can ask somebody to look at that, how they found that document. So go ahead, John.
Okay. This is actually an important question, and it should, I know I've sent some emails out on it, but it's definitely worth repeating. And the question is, my dues are paid for 2018, not 2019. Will I be able to vote on the pool purchase if my dues are not paid for 2019? Yes, if you ended 2018 in good standing, you remain in good standing. 2019 dues need to be paid or addressed in a payment plan by March 1. So late fees do not go into effect